where are we now? September 11th was the jumpstart for a hegemonic agenda, enabling the possibility of constant global warfare. It was a staged war pretext, no different than the sinking of the Lusitania, the provoking of Pearl Harbor, and the Gulf of Tonkin lie. In fact, if 9/11 wasn't a planned war pretext, it would be an exception to the rule. It has been used to launch two unprovoked illegal wars, one against Iraq and the other against Afghanistan. However, 9/11 was a pretext for another war as well, the war against you. The Patriot Act...
Yeah, that Iraq war or whatever, the Middle East stuff with Bush and that, yeah. The construction company, the mega construction company, Halliburton, that went in after we blew everything up and rebuilt it. Yeah, the president of that company, Halliburton, used to be Dick Cheney. Then he becomes president. And guess who owned all the oil places over there? Then that after the war, happened to just be transferred over to the Bush family. Yeah, George Bush owned all those oil stuff over there in the Middle East. And then after the war, he owned a lot more. And then his buddy, and they're all related, right? They're all related to these kings, the first kings of everything. Yeah, they own the oil places, and then they become president, and that happens. And no, it wasn't all planned. Yeah, okay.
Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely designed to destroy your civil liberty. The Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely designed to destroy your civil liberties and protect those in power. Currently in the United States, unannounced to most Americans, your home can be searched without a warrant, without you being home. You can in turn be detained indefinitely with no charges revealed to you, no access to a lawyer, and legally tortured, all under the suspicion that you might be a terrorist. If you need a painted picture of what is happening, let's recognize how history repeats itself. In February 1933, Hitler staged a false flag attack, burning down his own German parliament building, the Reichstag, blaming it on communist terrorists. Within the next few weeks, he passed the Enabling Act, which completely eradicated the German Constitution, destroying people's liberties. He then led a series of preemptive wars, all justified as necessary to maintaining homeland security.
Notice the similarities? Listen to what Bush said. An evil exists that threatens every man, woman, and child of this great nation. We must take steps to ensure our domestic security and protect our homeland. But guess who else said that? Hitler. Yeah. When announcing the Gestapo to the people. And when George Bush announced the Patriot Act, he said the same exact thing.
Our enemy is a radical network of terrorists and every government that supports them.
Notice how the Cheneys and the Bushes, they're all related. They're related to Obama. Remember how why would all these Republicans back Obama over Trump when Trump was saving everybody? And you saw what Biden. You saw what Biden was doing. Why? That's insane. Why would those? And Cheney's daughter was going around actually campaigning with Kamala or whatever. Or I forget what it was. But they're all related, man. Jill Biden, Nancy Clinton. Yeah, they're related. They're all royals. It's either the wife or the husband every time. 100% of the time. There's only been 2 times in the history of our country where you didn't have at least one of them, the president or the first lady, was royal with the same royal blood. Only two times, 2 presidents. That's it. Everyone else, every time. That's like, what, 98% of the time? Like, come on.
It's time to wake up. The people in power go out of their way to make sure you are perpetually misled and manipulated. The majority's perception of reality, especially in the political arena, is not their own. It is shrewdly imposed upon them without them even knowing it. For example, the public at large now believes the invasions of Iraq and the Middle East, along with the resulting instability, are the consequences of political and military mistakes. What the public fails to see, of course, is that the destabilization of the Middle East is exactly what the Western interests want. This war is to be sustained so the region can be divided up, domination of the oil maintained, continual profits reaped for defense contractors, and most obviously, permanent military bases established to be used as launching pads against other oil-bearing, non-conforming countries, such as Iran. For further implication that the civil war and destabilization is purely intentional, in 2005, 2 elite British SAS officers were arrested by Iraqi police after being caught driving around in their car, shooting at civilians while dressed up as Arabs. After being arrested and taken to a jail in Basra, the British Army immediately demanded release of these men. When the Basra government refused, British tanks came in and physically broke out the men from the Basra prison.
If you wish to destroy an area, how do you do it? Well, there are 2 ways. You can go in there and bomb it and so forth, but that is not very efficient. What you do is you try to get the people in that area to kill each other and to destroy their own territory, their own farms. And that's what's been done in that area.
See, that's what they wanted to do. If Biden would have got back into office, this is what would have happened. It would have been everyone thought it would be the blues against the reds, right? The Republicans. No. The Civil War, if it happened, it would have been between the illegal aliens and the Americans, okay? And that's what the Civil War would have been. If it had not, you know what I mean?
The way in which you destroy an opponent is get him to destroy himself by dividing his ranks against one another. Then you feed both sides. You have agents feeding both sides, inflaming both sides.
Yeah, you got the CNN on this side, and you got the Fox News on the other side, and they just feed, they just throw gas on the fire, man. That's all they're doing is, you know, if you're normal and you think, you know, you're on the right compared to the left, you are being fooled if you think Fox News and all these Republican stations, you are being fooled if you think they aren't brainwashing you too, okay? They just do it in a different way, okay?
And they kill each other off. And it's time that some of us woke up to this reality, to understand that people who try to maintain empires and create empires do it by manipulating the people they're trying to conquer.
You might want to ask yourself why the entire culture is utterly saturated with mass media entertainment from all sides. While the educational system in America continues its stupefying downward slide since the U.S. government decided to take over and subsidize the public school system.
What your government pays for, it gets. When we understand that, then we look at government-financed institutions of education and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's being turned out by these government-financed schools. Logic will tell you that if what is being turned out in those schools was not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it. The bottom line is that the government is getting what they have ordered. They do not want your children to be educated.
Did you hear that? If they weren't getting what they wanted, which is stupid kids, they would change it, but they don't. They only change it so it gets worse and worse and worse.
They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained, so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it.
We're in a lot of trouble because you people
And 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it all falls into the hands of the wrong people. And when the largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be peddled for truth on this network. So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
The last thing the power establishment wants is a conscious, informed public, capable of critical thinking. This is why a continually fraudulent zeitgeist is output via religion, the mass media, and the educational system. It is in their interest to keep you in a distracted, naive bubble. And they are doing a damn good job of it. This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the Council on Foreign Relations. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? I would say to her, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say, what do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said, the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
So how far will the sickness of power go? To what lengths will those in control go in order to maintain and preserve their positions?
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. 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 They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their bodies.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me. I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
George Orwell, in his famed and possibly prophetic work, 1984, stated, "Power is not a means, it is an end. The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power." Today, symptoms of a surveillance society...
He's saying that, these people, they already have everything. They don't want anything. This total control over everyone is not they're not doing it to try to get to another step or do something else. The total control is that they have nothing else. They already have everything else in the world. They have all the money, all the property. They have nothing. The only way they can make them more, farther up than us, because they can't go up any further. They're already at the top. The only thing they can do is push us further down into the ground to separate them from us.